morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity today. We just want to invite you to come into the presence of this room and leave the world outside these doors and just connect with this space. And we're going to call in our spirit guides and our spirit angels, and God, source, this elevated energy into our experience today so that it may bless us, that divine energy that's surrounding you will lift you up so that when you leave here, you're freer, you're more open and receptive. You hear the divine moving in and through your thoughts. And today can be a new day. And let's just claim it. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. Now you know it, let's sing it. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. So grateful for you. And so it is.
Welcome to Unity of Boulder. We're so happy to see everyone here who's in-house sitting in our pews today. We love seeing your faces again. And we also want to say we're thankful to everyone who's watching us online, at home, or on their phone, or wherever they may be. For those of you that are watching this on Facebook, if you'd like to hit that share button just next to the video, it lets everyone else who you're friends with see what you're watching and gives them a chance to see it as well, and that helps us out. We would appreciate that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Shadle. I'm the administrator here. I'm also the proud husband of Syntysche, who's going to give the talk today. So if you ever have any questions or about Unity of Boulder, or have any requests, my office is right in here. Please always come in, say hello, give me a call. I always love that. If you have a question about rentals and need a space to rent for an event, a party, graduation, anything, just give me a call. Ask for Mike. All right.
Not singing today, just in case you were wondering. I do want to introduce our guest today. Today we have Angenique, who is coming. She had quite the story. We were just talking in the back a little bit. She's been writing songs since about the 3rd grade. She was telling me she's written over 400 songs, and that's amazing. She must flow. She has paintings that go with her songs, which you'll see some stuff on the backdrop and that while she's performing. She has paintings that go with her songs and stories of her book, My Heart's Her Hear My Song. She's also a numerologist for the past 33 years, and she teaches a fun self-expression workshop called Play is the Way, which includes writing, singing, and painting, and improvisational games. Please welcome to our stage, Angenique.
This is a song called One and the Many, and I want to tell you that, yes, this is a handmade dulcimer, and it's one of a kind. Everybody asks, what is that? I designed it so it was like a guitar. One love, many kinds, one heart, one mind, one heart, one land, one sun, many friends, one sky, many cultures, one rainbow, many colors. In one another, bind into each other. We make up our minds. Everyone can hear the silence. Everybody has a voice. Everyone has loved somebody. Everybody has a choice. A choice. There's many paths, but one climb, one door divine. Many roads and many streets, but one place where we all meet. There's many countries and many states and many lovers, one mate. But in one another, find into each other. We make up our minds, 'cause everyone can hear the silence, and everybody has a voice. Everyone has loved somebody. Everybody has a choice. And there's one seed and many flowers, and one city, many towers. There's one father, one mother, many sisters and brothers. One moon, many faces, one light, many races. But in one another, we find into each other. We make up our minds. Everyone can hear the silence. Everybody has a voice. Everyone has loved somebody. And everybody has a choice. Your choice. Thank you.
I do have one more announcement. When I came out to do announcements a minute ago, I realized I forgot the main announcement I was coming out here to make. Next week, Syntysche's brother, Shad Groverland, will be in town. He co-ministered with her for about 2 years here, and he's going to be in town. So he's going to give the sermon at our 11 a.m. service next week. So come check out Shad. He's got a good, interesting, exciting take on things. So thank you.
Okay, good. Somehow my sermon from last week is sitting here, and that's a little distracting. Hold on. Once I do a sermon, it's like when people go, "What did you talk about last week?" I'm like, I have no idea. It's a process, observing life and trying to figure out what will speak to the hearts of many and not just my own heart, and have to get out of my own way and try to discover what's the need right now, what's the call, what's the want. And I named my title this week, Luminous Beings Are We by Yoda. I was thinking of that cuteness, and whenever he came on in the Star Wars movies, I just feel like I always waited for the moment when he would come and share his knowledge in this soft, gentle, yogi way. And in a humorous way. He always laughed at the things he said because it was so simple what he was saying, but it was always so profound. And I think that we have a lack of that in our media and our movies at this point. Like, I've been really thinking about all the great movies that touched my life, because my kids are teenagers now and they're old enough to deal with more topics that, wider topics that you wouldn't really share until about 13 or 15. And I had Mike download the movie Ghost a week ago. And I have not watched that movie since it came out like 25 years ago. And was wonderful because it was like I was watching it for the first time again. And have you all seen the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze? And it is probably the most beautiful movie that was ever created. And talk about a unity message and the idea that we always stay in communication with spirits as they leave our physical sight. And back then they didn't have the abilities to do what we can do with movies. I'd like them to almost do it again, but I just want the same actors to see what they could do. But what they did with the limited, abilities to bring Patrick Swayze from the angelic side to speak with her, then the closing of that movie, I just was sobbing. And my daughter was just watching me sob while she sobbed, and it was like as if she's never really seen a movie that touched her like that. And I've been wanting to go back to some of the things that really did work before, like some of the sweeter, slower times. Even in our movies, paces and cadence were slower. There was time to digest and revere the beauty of life, and even the hard parts of life, which is, some people think the worst is death, and yet we all know it's life. It's all part of it. That there's beauty in that too. We've all had a year this year where if there were unhealed things in our lives, they were up in our reality because we were shoved into self. So we had to be with self. And, if you meet people that overtalk and they just constantly talk and they never come up for air, that they do that to keep from being with self. Or people that shop a lot and they do a lot of things that are exterior because they don't want to be with self. Or people that overdrink and have to drink every day to get themselves to feel something. But all of those avoidances are hiding from self. And the ultimate goal on this spiritual journey is to be moving towards the path of a master. And masters didn't end up there because things were just easy and all flower gardens and perfect and light and luminous angels and perfection and all these things that we think that the Bible talks about, that eventually you'll get to this state. Life is subtly hard. And life is a school. We are, spiritual beings having a human experience. This is what Wayne Dyer says. Instead of human beings having a spiritual experience. Do you feel the difference when you flip those two? If you're a spiritual being having a human experience, then we would take our gaze off of the trials and the tribulations of the world, of the things that are not working in our lives, on the jobs, on the things that are in discord, and be with spirit. And then we tap into human, right? We stay in the spiritual. We meditate. We walk in nature. We live from a state of inner Zen. And in the places that aren't healed, we be with it. We visit it. And we ponder it until we can heal it and get it out of our cell memory. So therefore, we can become the masters that we were put here to do and be. You know, you look back on all the ages of all the seers that precede us, and none of their lives were easy. Was Jesus' life easy? Was Edgar Casey's life easy, being the most documented psychic and yet being a Christian that read the Bible every single year of his life and taught Sunday school in a Methodist church, and then he's doing these psychic readings, which is against it because he was a charlatan. It was almost in a witchcraft world to be doing what he did, but that was what he was given as a gift. And so sometimes doctrines can take our direct connection away from us to that which is being given to us. Because we are a collective one with unique and special gifts that God gave us. And the goal is to find that unique and special gift and share it. And you'll know that you're in that unique and special gift when you lose time. When you are in it, there is no sense of time. You could lose a day, but you're so uniquely and connected to this something that you've probably done many lifetimes and you finally zeroed in. There's no way you wouldn't be able to bring money in on this because this is your unique thing. You know, many of us will go to a job for 40 years. I counsel people all the time that say, I hate my job, but it sustains the house and it sustains the things, and I have a wife and I have the kids and I've got grandkids and I don't want to start anew. And yet, that was probably the story since this person was in their 20s that talked them out of seeking within themselves, what is this unique present that moves through you, as you, in this world, which is God through you, as you. It's unwrapping the parts of yourself. That's where the becoming into the knowing thyself, healing thyself. It's really, really important. So this morning I got up and I live out near Lyons, and so we drive on 36 into Boulder, and it was really foggy outside, and we leave really early in the morning, way crack of dawn, to get here. And when we left, you know, I always have kind of really beautiful music playing on Sundays, and Mike knows to kind of be quiet in the car because I'm percolating that which Spirit has been downloading for me all night long. You know, I always write the sermons, but then I let them go. I write them, I let them go, and then Saturday night, I just put it in God's hands and say, okay, now tell me, what the hell is this sermon about? Thank you. It'd be nice if I could know before I walk on that stage, so that'd be great. Thanks. I'm just teasing, but that is really kind of how Spirit works for me, and it doesn't have to work that way for everyone, but I've learned to trust it. I've learned to trust when I don't know. The night before, I used to get in a lot of fear and not sleep, panicking, and trying to get what is it that this sermon's about? What's the aha moment? I'm thinking of all the ministry school and all the things we're supposed to question ourselves to know before we get out here and deliver this life-changing sermon. There's no pressure in that, right? And it's always fun to see what Spirit shares. So we got driving, and it's foggy, but there's just sparkles of sun coming down on the highway like I've never seen it before. And there's lots of deer and elk at that hour, and I do love the drive-in on Sunday because it's the earliest we drive out there. And so we're really going slow and really taking it in, and it's just slowly the denseness is thinning out, and the lights and the sparkles are becoming more and more, where it's now like dancing. And then we got around Nelson Road, and we just came through this wall, and we just moved right out of the mist into the most beautiful, picturesque moment of my life here. It was green in a way I've never seen it. I mean, the sun was just beautiful, and I was just in awe of what it transformed me back to Ireland. I've been to Ireland 3 times. I'm very attracted to the culture there. It reminded me of a slower time. That's why I love going there, because their pace is more like we were back in the day, where everything wasn't just it's just like cell phones and emails, and we have so many ways for people to contact us. We're never really not working. You know, when we're at home, we still can be contacted. So there's never really people used to go home and they were done. And we have dinner, and now we have family time or something. But the demands of this world on everyone can keep you distracted from the pure euphoria of what this life is about. It's not to work to work. We work to play, and even better than that, have our play be our work. So it's all play. To be in the work that you've been called to do. And if you're retired, to find the passions and the things that you love to do still, right? So it made me think of this beautiful writing by Sri Ramakrishna that sits framed in my office, and every once in a while it just catches my eyes, and I'll reread it. And this is what it says. The title of it is Faith Brings Peace. So long as the bee is outside the petals of the lily and has not tasted the sweetness of its honey, it hovers around the flower, emitting the buzzing sound. But when it is inside the flower, it noiselessly drinks the nectar. So long as a man quarrels and disputes about doctrines and dogmas, he has not tasted the nectar of true faith. When he has tasted it, he becomes quiet and full of peace. And I feel like that busyness, that buzzing, many of us are experiencing that buzzing. You know you're being that buzzer when you're trying to get every ear you possibly can to tell your ills and your hardships and your difficulties, and that's how you're getting it out of you, instead of being with what it is that's being birthed in you through these difficult situations. And if you start to observe your life, you'll realize that there's probably 1 or 2 things you're obsessing about right now. It's 1 or 2 things that it's taking your peace away. And the monkey mind is constantly discussing it, and then your conscious mind is discussing it, and you're just living and you're building a nightmare masterpiece for yourself to overcome. And so therefore, you're not experiencing the beauty of all the other things that are happening in your life because you're so super focused on these 1 or 2 things that are not going your way right now. Or it's an outer person that's not going your way right now. Or you feel like you're out of control right now, right? And the truth is I have found on this journey, through my own discovery and through counseling people through all these years, when we go astray off our spiritual practice, we tend to blame the issues of our life on something else. And it's the world, or it's our parents in our childhood, or it's our professors, or it's someone else other than something that's being called to be visited. Because you'll know that it's something that's supposed to be growing your soul because it's repeated from something else that you've seen before, and you've seen it before. It might look different, but it's the same problem. It feels the same. It has the same oppression. It's the same fear. And that's when we know, and Edgar Cayce teaches, that we are visiting something about our soul development. It keeps appearing not because you're a victim and God wants to get you. It keeps appearing because you haven't sat with it and recognized maybe you've carried something from another lifetime. Maybe you're carrying something from your childhood. Maybe you're carrying something that cut you and made you feel like you were less than perfect. And so you need to percolate in that place until you can find that love of God, moving in and through that and going, this no longer serves me. This attack and the way I protect myself and the way I don't love others and the way I, keep all these good things that I want to give to others because I'm scared that this difficult thing is going to come and hit me again. And yet that very thing was there to be a teacher. But buzzing around, being noisy and affecting everybody else's vibrational balance isn't how we go about it. Go inside that nectar. Let that flower protect you. And feel that love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. I don't fear evil. I don't believe in evil. I am sustained by the love of God. So we'll blame the world when something isn't working in our life, claiming that somehow their peace or their power was taken away from them somehow without them even really noticing, like somehow something outside of them took their peace and power away. As if there was a sneaky peace and power taker in the shadows. I like that. Like, is there some little sneaky peace and power taker that's taking it from us, like our boss or our kids or, that's how, like, if you really think about it, you're giving a lot of power to this situation that you really don't want that person to have power, but you're giving it to them because you're believing that they're the sneaky peace and power taker. So stop letting them being so sneaky. Catch them. And then catch yourself because you're letting them be the sneaky power taker. Seeing them differently in your mind's eye. Stop blaming others for what you perceive because something is in this situation that's in you. It's always a direct correlation. We dislike the people that have a quality that's in us. And so we need to visit what we dislike about ourselves and find a way to either move through that energy and accept it about ourselves or learn how to not have that quality anymore. Because all of it comes from fear. All of it comes from us being cut off from this greater power. So, when we refer to the world, we talk about that a lot. The world is the external, and it tends to be the energy of the ego. So, when we talk about the world, or the Bible refers to the world, Unity has a book called the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary that breaks down the word world when we see it in the Bible. And it says this: world, a state of consciousness formed through the belief in the reality of things external. It leads one to follow standards of living based on man's opinions rather than on truth. The world is overcome by our denying that it has any power over us and affirming freedom in Christ, or affirming freedom in Christ consciousness that's within you. People get confused about what unity is. You see that we have many of the religions being honored on our platform here. And at the core, the only reason why Unity is a Christian church or Christian spiritual center is because of the fact that we could break down metaphysically all of the great books that all of the religions follow. But the Bible was the most read book in the Western culture. So the Fillmores chose the Bible as the book we use to break down because all of the books of religion are about us. They're not about the people in the history. It doesn't help us to really hear about people that lived thousands of years ago. I mean, honestly, a lot has changed. But if you break down the egoic aspects that keep us from being the powerful beings that we're supposed to be here, you can break down all of those qualities and all of those people, the way that they act out and how this represents and how we bring in the Spirit. It all pertains to us, right? So there's a great thing called the Golden Rule, all right? And the Golden Rule breaks down where all the religions agree. That's where unity is. That's why you see all the religions being honored in the lobby, and you see them in artwork in different places. And the Golden Rule says this from the Christian perspective. In everything, do to others as you would have them do to you. In Buddhism, it says, treat not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. Right? So there's always this common thing to be kind to others, and therefore they will be kind to you. It's always in this giving and receiving. How would it make me feel if being more aware from a grander level, as if you are Christ, you are Buddha, you are the Christ nature, you are the Buddha nature, that if I'm having a quarrel with a boss and I'm feeling a lot of anxiety about it and I don't know how to move forward because I feel like this person's standing in my way and I feel like this person's feeling threatened by me, or I'm just using an example of one of the things that was shared with me this week. If I'm feeling all that fear, I'm breaking down my spiritual, superior energy that I am. Because that superior, and superior is a hard word because it's like, oh, it sounds a little controlling, but it's God Almighty, Source, Spirit. We are divinely connected and created by and are, right, in expression. So when we look at a difficult situation, if you surrender and try to figure out, okay, what does it feel like to be threatened by maybe a younger employee? What is that person feeling when they're losing their creative new thoughts and there's somebody below them that's got all these great ideas and they're stopping you because they're in fear? There's a wonderful tool that we talk about in unity. When we feel like somebody has trespassed against us, we bless them. The word blessing makes holy. So we visualize that person in our home. It could be your parents, it could be whatever this person, I'm only using hypothetical stories, even stories I've heard. Visualizing them and blessing them. You are literally giving a prayer for that being, to not feel the shudders of feeling threatened in this world. You're helping this person find their higher good. And watch how something softens and there's an ability to start communicating. And it might not happen the first time that you do this, but when you sit in a prayerful place of blessing the people that frustrate you and take your peace away from you, you're giving them your power. And you feel powerless. That's why you're giving your power. But when you become empowered, you do have choice. You have choices. And those choices are to bless someone. See holy. You only want the best good. You don't even have to think about what you're trying to create. Spirit already knows what you need before you even asked. But now you have to implement this practice as a vibrational warrior. These times call us to live this in action. It's love in action. It's not just love for our own sake and our own little nucleus in our home. It's love for the totality of the consciousness that we have to see for a world that's going to survive and a planet that's going to survive. It will make us so much more hyper aware of what we're putting into our being. So I said in my ad that I would be sharing one of the methods that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who are the founders of the Unity movement, discovered throughout their life work and knew it would be effective every time in getting rid of victim mentality and troublesome conditions. Because that's what we're doing when we're blaming others for our lack of peace. We're going into victimhood. I get less. I don't ever get it my way. They all get it their way, but I never get it my way. You know, it just seems like I keep knocking at this door and I don't understand why it won't open, and I just keep knocking it, but you don't realize that door's closed. And the universe is just waiting for you to shift and go, oh, well, that was easy. We're so stubborn to want to do it the way we've always done it. And if there's ever been a time that we're being called to do it a different way, it's now. And as spiritual warriors, you should be excited about it, because the doors haven't shut to us. It's just different doors now. They're asking you to not speak the spiritual life, but live it. Do your meditation every day. Take your vitamins. Take care of this vessel. Don't destroy it. Don't speak of ego and negativity and celebrate other people's pains and their loss of houses and divorces. Watch your tongue. Watch what you're saying. Because if you think of karma is a brutal one. And you know what? It's not struck to you by God. Karma is created by us, because we know the gauge when we're being authentic and honest, real and kind. When we say something crappy to somebody's face, or we do it behind their back, it doesn't matter. Their vibration, and they know we've done it. They can feel it vibrationally. They know that you have not respected that relationship. And you know what happens? Someone else is going to talk behind your back and say bad things about you or celebrate the pains in your life. But when you take full responsibility for your being, you're quiet a lot more. That buzzing stops, and you go into that flower nectar all the time. You just simmer and percolate and be in that nectar. Because if, as Thumper says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. It's as simple as that. So when you meet people that are starting out and they're still in that blame mentality, they tend to think that someone else is going to show them how to find their way spiritually, right? We tend to want to look to a psychic or a Reiki master. And I'm not putting any of these things down, but you need to be very, very careful of what you share your energy with. Because if there's abilities of people to be psychic, then why don't you believe that you have that ability as well? Why do you not believe that you can also throw the I Ching and have Spirit just tell you exactly what you need to do right now? To listen to thyself is to listen to God, Source, Spirit. When you are asking somebody else's opinion and how to spiritually handle something, you're taking on their karmic stuff. It's difficult because it can feel lonely, but when you really grasp that, you'll feel more full of love and light because you have this direct connection with God all the time. You're not blocking yourself from this very energy that's always there and available to guide and direct every aspect of your life. You're connected to your ancestors, you're connected to your spirit guides, you're connected to the people that have crossed over, and you're getting wisdom from all these wonderful levels because the veil thins between the physical and the spiritual. You have those times where you're like, God, I feel really psychic lately. I think and I have it, or I'm going to make a phone call, the person calls me. You're in the zone. You're in it. You're doing your practice. Well, that's what life is supposed to be. And when you're feeling really disconnected and feeling really not divinely connected, you've cut yourself off from this greater power, this greater love. In Lessons in Truth, which is probably one of the most important books if you want to understand what Unity's philosophy is, Emily Cady says it this way: I cannot reveal God to you. You cannot reveal God to another. If I have learned, I may tell you, and you may tell another how to seek and find God, each within himself. But the new birth into the consciousness of our spiritual faculties and possibilities is indeed like the wind that blows where it chooses. and you hear the sound of it, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit, from John 3:8. The new birth takes place in the silence, in the invisible. And we are the ones that eventually will feel it, see it, and it'll be so clear that it's tactical. You can feel it, like you can feel the vibration of a room when it's about to happen, when you're about to have a divine intervention, because you're having them all the time. There's a color that appears when I'm seeking an answer to a troubled thing, and it's like a, I can't even. It's like the sun sets at autumn. It's kind of a rusty orange color hue that appears to everything when I'm about to have something hit. And I know I need to really stop and listen. And that's the sign for me that the veil is very thin right now, that it's coming now. Be with it and be waiting. And thank God it's already coming. But you have to find the signs and symbols of when Spirit is moving in, because Spirit is always there. That color is always there. It's just that I finally align myself with the source energy that's right there. The only reason why you might not be experiencing it is because you're cutting yourself off of it and believing in the things of the world, the trials of the world, the difficulties of the world. You're watching the news. You're being talked out of you being a spiritual being first. Because it's entertaining, but you're unhappy. Right? We do these things that are quick fixes because they distract ourselves from ourselves, but yet we're walking around in a sort of subtle dread. And what do we really want to feel like? I want to feel hope. I want to feel peace. I want to feel excited. I want to feel love immersed in my being. I want to feel protected. You fill in, what do you want to feel? Call out the things you would like to feel. I want to hear what you want to say. Hope. Peace. Love. Laughter. Say it again. Human touch. Right, exactly. Yes. Say it again. Happier. Joy. Freedom. Energy. Vigor. Right? So what are we willing to do to open ourselves up to that? Because today is the day. If you will let it. Think of the plans you have today. Are those plans going to put you in a position to be walking towards your path of a master? Or maybe is there a shift in the plans for today? While you've sat here and cultivated a time with Spirit where you're remembering who you truly are. And you can leave with this and bring this to every aspect of your life, right? So last night, I live out in a neighborhood. All of our properties are pretty far apart, but we're all friends, and it's really been awesome. And there's a farm just right next to my property where there's sheep and there's pigs, and there's a whole agriculture thing going on, and there's trees that are being built in this very environmentally careful way so that they don't need a lot of water, and you're just watching these incredible young people creating a sustainable life, and the whole place is run on volunteers. And it's really like, I observe it a lot. I'm here a lot, but when I'm home, I observe what's going on over there, and it's kind of like watching the 60s happening again, like a commune. I'm sure all the pieces of it are happening over there too, but they're having a lot of fun. And people donate their time, and they get fed, and they have a place to sleep. So during COVID, it's become very packed with Volkswagen buses and trailers and things of this nature, and all they do is they just all hang out and plant and take care of the animals, and it's just an incredible vibe that's happening over there. And they have a party maybe twice a year, and last night they had a party. And it was like right around time to go to bed, and I'm hearing whoop, 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 that sound like outside my house. And it's kind of far from me, so this music was super loud. But it was like spiritual techno music, like killer. I mean, they had the total, like, it was awesome music. I mean, I listened outside for a minute, and everything in my body wanted to go to that party. Oh, the young version of myself was like, oh, Mike. But I haven't gone out on a Saturday night, honestly, for 25 years in this job. Like, think of the sacrifice of that. Like, it sucks. I mean, it does. I wanted to go to that party so bad. I know I'm a little raw today. But I thought, but my work is so powerful and beautiful that it's worth it. I have to sleep. You just have to sleep to be a divine connection to spirit. And I put my earplugs in my ears just because it was rattling our house. But something happened where that rhythm took me to the party. And I was at that party in an astral body. And I was dancing, and there were girls of fire things, and it was just awesome. And I was just like loving it. And Mike was hooking it up with people over here, my husband, and we were just there. We were like, and the best part is I woke up rested. So I didn't get to miss the party. I got to go to the party. And that's kind of how it is. It's like when you have faith that you really can have these kind of experiences, you do. When you have faith that you're so much more than this physical body, and that your spiritual body, you are a soul, you get to flit around, you get to go in dreams, you get to visit people that might be in another country that you miss so bad and you want to give them a hug, and you can go and do that. It's super cool. The more you educate yourself of the things of spirit. And your life will become a miracle existence over and over again. So I was watching an interview that happened between Wayne Dyer and Esther Hicks that my friend Ed sent me yesterday, and this is a quote that stood out to me from it. Wayne Dyer said this: "There was a great teacher on this planet about 1,000 years ago named Apanjay, and he said, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, that all of your thoughts break their bonds, your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new and a great, wonderful world." And then he said, when you are inspired, dormant forces, faculties, and talents come alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you've ever dreamt yourself to be. It's almost as if you discover yourself to be God, or Source, or the Tao, or Divine Mind, or whatever name you place on this source energy that you speak of and speak to us from. So when we are inspired by a great purpose, that's my call to you to sit with this week. When you are inspired, that's such a great word, inspired by some great purpose, sit with that in your meditation. And watch what happens. Let the unfoldment of all of this last year of being repressed and shut down and lonely be birthed now. Discover innately what was supposed to be birthed out of all of it, and let it happen today. We'll take an offering for unity now. So before we do, I want to let you know we had a board meeting about a week and a half ago, and our numbers are down right now. So from January to now, we are in a $14,800 deficit to keep the doors open for this center. And we've had a very generous tither of our church. She's willing to tithe, a matching tithe, up to $7,500. And obviously, if you tithe, you kind of have to give on top of what you give today, because if this isn't a deficit, then it just keeps building the deficit. So if you can give on top of what you normally give, it would be greatly appreciated, and then we can keep doing this incredible work that we do here. And so with that said, you can text a tithe if you're watching this online. You can write a check or cash, and you can put it out in the lobby. We have dip jars. You can dip your credit card out in the lobby. But with that, let's just hold in our mind what we would like to give back to Unity of Boulder. And we will say these words. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And again, we have a chance to listen to Angenique.
Hi. This is a song called No Way to Be. I was born a Lutheran, adopted into a Jewish family. I explored Christianity and sat with the Buddhists and did a lot of Sufi dancing. But after 35 years, I did a lot of deep breathing and self-inquiry, and that's what aligned me. Thank you. That's it. On that note. Okay.
Tried to be a Buddhist, too much time in meditation. Tried to be a Christian, looking for that revelation. Tried to prove I'm right. Does there have to be a reason why? There is no time for hiding. Let's put an end to all this fighting. After years of learning to see, that was no way to be. No way to be. No one to follow. I'm checking inside my mind to see what's going on. Tried to be a Sufi, dance the universal one. Tried to be a Jew. We are the chosen ones. I tried to prove I'm right. Does there have to be a reason why? There is no time for hiding. Let's put an end to all this fighting. After years of learning to see, that was no way to be. No way to be. No one to follow. I'm checking inside my mind to see what's going on. God is okay. Does there have to be a way? God is alright. Does there have to be a fight? Working overtime. Does there have to be a reason why? There is no time for hiding. Let's put an end to all this fighting. After years of learning to see, that was no way to be.
right. Well, next Sunday we have Shad in town, so you'll want to come enjoy that incredible service. He's not given a sermon in a long time because he's doing the business of unity these days. For those of you that don't know, he's the CEO of the Unity Movement. So he left us to be overseeing all the Unity churches in this country and the world, actually. So he has a lot to share about the future of New Thought and the success of it. And we're very, very blessed to still be open. There's been a lot of churches that have closed this year because of COVID. So we are very blessed. So let's all rise and just be grateful for the spiritual center and for community. And we'll sing this out to the universe and let all the people in Boulder remember that this place exists and come back. We miss you. And those of you that are watching us on live stream, we'd love to have you in person. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more trouble, no more strife. Sorry, what? With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, loud, I let go. I want to hear you. Let the Spirit run my life. That's better. Heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. We can even go louder. Struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. And so it is. Blessings to you. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.